Hi folks, thanks for joining me for another little YouTube yoga practice. Today will be another HaTha session, so about 20 minutes of warm-ups just to get some heat into the body, and then a few long held postures just to give you a chance to soften and relax a little bit more deeply. Before I move on, yes, I have cut my hair. It was just time. And Deb and Dave, I know I promised to have this video up a few days ago, but unfortunately just things haven't worked out that way, so I apologise. As always, if you have any questions, please pop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd be happy to help you out in any way that I can. And of course, if you would like to support me, there will be a PayPal link in the description. But if not, please enjoy this practice as my gift to you. And as we move through the practice, remember to listen to your body. Particularly in this style of practice, you should be quite deeply connected to your breath. We are trying to keep the breath smooth and steady through the nose throughout the practice. And if that isn't the case, just take a simpler option. And if anything hurts, don't do it. Try and come to a simpler alternative of the posture. And if you can't think of one, again, pop a question into the comments and I'll be happy to help you out. So, without further ado, make your way into child's pose, kneeling, stretching forward. We might start our child's pose just with the knees a little bit apart and the hands back next to the hips. So it's a little different taking the hands back rather than forward. We will move into an arms forward variation in a moment, but for now I just want you to lengthen out between the points of the shoulders and the ears. Take a little mental scan through your body. And just see if you can relax anywhere where there's unnecessary effort. And after your next breath, lift your hips up a little bit, tuck your toes under, just so we're stretching the soles of the feet, and take your arms forwards. So now moving into a more traditional child's pose. Again, try to keep a sense of the points of the shoulders moving away from the ears. So the shoulders are rolling out. After your next calm out breath, just gently press up into downward facing dog. And take a couple of breaths in your down dog. Try to lift the hips, but press down through the heels and the hands. One more calm breath here. See if you can press the armpits a little closer to the feet. And after you exhale, step to the front of your mat and let your body gently hang forward. Remember, you can have the hands on the shins if you're tight in the hamstrings. If you're more supple, either hands resting on the floor or holding opposite elbows. And maybe give your body a little sway side to side if that feels good for you. Let the weight of the head gently traction the neck. Take one more breath here. And after you exhale, press your hips forwards, stand all the way up. Reach to the fingers as you breathe in, maybe stretching up and back. And then lower the hands, exhale and bring your feet together. With the hands to the heart, gently breathe out. And taking the arms up, reach to the fingers and breathe in. Fold forward and calmly breathe out. In one movement, step the left leg back and stand in the lunge. And sink into the hips as you breathe out. Take another smooth breath in, lengthen from the back foot into the hands. Then bring the hands down, step back into downward facing dog. Move forward to plank and inhale. Lower smoothly to stomach or push up and breathe out. Take your version of up dog as you inhale. And holding there, breathe out. Take another breath in, stretching toes to throat. And press back into down dog and exhale. Again, one movement, step the right foot forward as you stand in the lunge. And sink into the hips and breathe out. Take another breath in, look up if you can, stretch to the fingertips. Hands to the mat, step the left foot forward and breathe out. Stand and reach up to the fingers, take a breath in. Second side, fold forward and breathe out. Step the right foot back, one smooth movement to the lunge. And sink into the hips as you exhale. Take another calm breath, stretch from the back foot to the hands. And then hands to the mat, step back to down dog and breathe out. Move forward into plank as you breathe in. Smoothly lower down, stomach or push up, exhale. Take your version of up dog, take a breath in here, and holding there, gently breathe out. Take another calm breath into the chest, pull the shoulders back. And then press back into down face dog and exhale. Step the left foot forward, stand, one smooth movement. And holding there, sink deeper into the hips as you exhale. Take another smooth breath in, stretch from the back foot to the hands. And hands to the mat, right foot forward and breathe out. Standing up, reach to the fingertips and inhale. Second cycle, fold forward and breathe out. Step the left foot back to the lunge, breathe in. Sink to the hips and exhale. Arch perhaps a little further, take another breath in. Hands to the mat, step back to down face dog. Move forward to plank and breathe in. Smoothly lower down as you exhale. Your up dog, breath in. And holding there, breathe out. Take another breath in, stretch the ankles, the fronts of the legs and hips. And press back to down dog and exhale. Step the right foot forward, stand in the lunge and breathe in. Sink a little deeper and breathe out. Arch the spine, stretch to the fingers as you breathe in. And hands to the mat, left foot forward, breathe out. Standing, stretch to the fingers, maybe arch a little. Second side, fold forward and breathe out. Step the right foot back, stand in the lunge. One smooth movement. Sink into the hips and exhale. Take another breath in. Maybe see if you can stretch a little further, back foot to fingers. And hands to the mat, left foot back, breathe out. Move forward to plank and inhale. Smoothly lower down and breathe out. Take your up dog. Inhale to the chest. Pull the shoulders back, face soft as you exhale. Take another breath in, lengthening the whole front of the body. And make your way back into down dog and exhale there. Step the left foot forward, stand and breathe in. Sink into the hips as you exhale. Keep the back leg strong. Lengthen from the back foot to the hands, breathing in. And hands to the mat, face to the shins, breathe out. Stand all the way up, reach high to the hands, maybe arching. Third cycle, fold forward and breathe out. Left foot back to the lunge, breathe in. Lower the hips, keep the legs strong as you breathe out. Take another calm breath in, lengthening out through the arms and legs. Hands to the mat, back to down dog and exhale. Move forward to plank and inhale, use the knees if necessary. Lower down and breathe out. Take your up dog, breathing in. Pull the shoulders back. And holding there, breathe out. Keep the face soft. One more breath to the chest. And press back to down dog and exhale. Step the right foot forward, stand in the lunge. Sink into the hips as you breathe out. Arch the spine, take another calm breath in. Hands to the mat, left foot forward, breathe out. Standing, reach to the hands, take a calm breath in. Second side, fold forward and breathe out. Step the right foot back, stand in the lunge. Sink into the hips as you breathe out. Take another breath. Lengthen the front of the body all the way from the back foot. And hands to the mat, step back and exhale. Move forward to plank, breathe in. Smoothly lower down and breathe out. Your up dog, stretching the front of the body. Hold there, keep the arms strong as you exhale. One more breath into the chest. And press back into down dog and breathe out. Step the left foot forward, stand in the lunge. Sink into the hips, back leg strong, breathe out. Arch the spine, take another breath in. And hands to the mat, right foot forward and exhale. Stand all the way up. Stretch up to the fingers as you breathe in. And keeping the arms raised, bend the knees and sink into the hips. Press the knees forward, the heels down as you reach to the fingertips. And sink a little deeper if you can, squeeze the ankles and knees together. Take another calm breath in, reach a little higher through the hands. And then gently fold forward into Uttanasana. Hold Uttanasana just for a breath or two. Again, remember, take a simpler variation, hands to shins or knees bent if necessary. And after your next out breath, just arch the spine for a moment. Take your feet hip width apart. And we'll take Halasana. So place your hands underneath the feet, ideally toes touching the inner wrists. And try and press the toes down so the back of the wrists are connected to the mat. If you're more comfortable, start to bend the elbows and fold the body a little further forward. Keep the shoulders moving wide to the sides. Keep the breath calm through the nose. Just go a little further if you can for the last breath here. Then raise the heels, look forwards and breathe in. Take the hands to the mat and gently breathe out. Then lift the collarbones, arch the spine. Make your way back into downward facing dog. From down dog, roll to the right foot and right hand. Reach the left arm high in Vashisthasana. Just nice simple variation. Lift the hips a bit higher as you breathe out. Keep the right arm strong. Reach to the left fingers. One more breath in. And as you breathe out, gently roll back into downward facing dog. Now take the second side. Roll to left hand and left foot. Reach the right arm high. Keep the left elbow strong and the right foot on the left. Take one more calm breath. Remember, you can look down if you're feeling a little wobbly. And exhale back into downward facing dog. From there, raise the heels, look forwards. Lower smoothly down and breathe out. Take your up dog, stretching toes to throat. Pull the shoulders back as you exhale. One more breath into the chest. Try and find some length in the front of the hips. And press back and breathe out in downward facing dog. Take one breath here. And gently press the armpits towards the feet. Then raise the heels, look forwards, and walk, step or float to the front of the mat. Arch the spine as you breathe in. Bring the chin to the throat, breathe out, and just turn to the side. Take your feet about 1.5 meters apart and bring the outer edges of the feet parallel. Keep your fingertips underneath the shoulders with the hips level. And try to keep the spine straight, so not arched, not rounded, just trying to line up all the vertebrae of the spine. Take one more calm breath here. And after you exhale, take your right hand to the floor underneath your face. Take your left hand to the back of the left hip. And then push down through the right hand to turn. Press down through the left hand to keep the hips level. It looks a lot fancier if you raise the left arm, but the twist is much more effective if you keep pressing down onto the back of the left hip. See if you can turn the shoulders a little bit further. Last breath here. Keep the head centered. After you exhale, swap the hands the other way. Left hand down, right hand on the back of the hip, and twist to the right. You might get a few little releases for the spine. Not something we're looking for, but nice if it happens. Keep turning the shoulders, but keep the hips level. Keep the spine straight, so it's just revolving on its axis. Take a last breath or two here. See if you can turn just a little further. And then gently release the right hand down. Look forwards, arch the spine, hands shoulder width apart. Bring the chin into the throat and breathe out. Then lean into the hands, just lift to your tiptoes. Hold there as you exhale. Try and press up between the shoulder blades. Take one more breath. And after exhaling, just lightly float the feet together. Stand all the way up. Reach up and maybe back. Take a smooth breath in. And lower the hands. Gently exhale. And we'll finish our warm-up just with Garudasana, a lovely little standing stretch for the outer hips. So standing on the right foot, take left leg over the right, bend the right leg and see if you can hook the left toes. Then take the arms out wide for a moment and bring right arm over left. See if you can bring left fingers to right palm. And with the thumbs pointing up, sink into the hips as you take the arms away from the body. See if you can take the hips a bit lower and the arms a little higher. Just take one more calm breath here. And then unravel the arms and the legs and swap to the second side. So gripping your left toes down, bend the left leg. Take the right thigh over the left. Ideally hook the right foot under left calf, but if not, just approximate. Then take the arms wide and bring the left arm over the right. Try to turn your fingers to point up as you sink down into the hips. Keep the shoulders moving down away from the ears. And as you press the elbows forward, try to find a stretch across the upper back. Take one more breath here. See if you can sink a little bit lower through the hips. And release the arms and the legs. And stretch up into the hands once more. Interlace your fingers this time and press up through the palms. Take another breath. Look up and back. And lower the hands down. Then taking your feet comfortably hip width apart, just sink down into a little squat for a couple of breaths. Try to bring the heels to the mat. If that's very easy for you, start to lean the body a little further forward between the knees. Try to reach out into the fingers. Again, finding a little stretch in the outer shoulders and across the upper back. Try to bring the sit bones a little closer to the heels. Take one more breath here. And after your next calm exhalation, gently sit back down and take your feet comfortably wide. So you're not trying to go to your widest position. We want ideally about 90 degrees or a little bit more between the feet, but just take whatever's appropriate for you. Some a little more, some a little less. Take a moment to check that your feet are pointing up, your knees are pointing up. And then you might like to take your hands behind you and just give the hips a little roll forwards and backwards. So we're just starting to relax the inner hips a little. You might also like to give the legs a little roll in and out. Again, just an opportunity to soften the inner hips before we go any further. And then either stay with your hands behind you. Now I know if you're tight in the back of the legs, in the hamstrings or in the adductors, keeping the hands behind you is a better option. You can stay there and just try to relax the legs a little bit. If your spine can stay relatively straight, for the next couple of breaths I want you to bring the hands to the heart and try to keep the back as upright and straight as you can. So we're strengthening the spinal muscles. And now that we're into the Ta part of our HaTha class, whenever possible, try to keep your eyes closed. Try to soften and lengthen your breath. And with each exhalation, see if you can find a little more softness. See if there's some tension or effort you can let go of. And if you're still quite comfortable, lift the hips up, tilt the sit bones back so the top of the hips roll forward. Check that your feet are still pointing up, your knees are still pointing up, and start to bring the hands a little bit further forward. Now you might be really open in the hips and the legs, and you might be able to bring the stomach and the body to the floor, but for most people that's not going to happen. So focus on keeping the spine relatively straight, the legs just a little bit active so they're not collapsing and rolling back. And as you feel the body relaxing and getting more comfortable, perhaps go a little bit further, but just be really patient. I like to rest here with the head in the hands. I think it's a nice, if you're comfortable here, it's a nice little supported position, and it gives you more of the sense of the stomach and ribs moving forward rather than just the head moving down. Again, be a little patient here. We should never force the body in our practice, but particularly in this style of practice, where we're holding a little longer and trying to work with the sense of ease rather than effort. Keep the breath calm and steady through the nose. Focus on relaxing where you're feeling there's the most resistance. Just a few more breaths here. And after one more calm exhalation, just slowly bring your body back to its upright position. See if you can lift the collarbones and take a deep breath into the chest. Just like a mini back arch. And now turn to your right, take the hands either side of the right knee. You might like to again lift the hips a little bit and tilt the sit bones further back. And try and bring your sternum to point towards the right big toe. It might be enough just to stay there with the body fairly upright, but if you're more comfortable, start to bring the left hand forward towards the right ankle. Again, remember we're not in a hurry here. If you feel very comfortable, maybe bring the left hand to the right heel. And start to bring your body a little closer to the right leg. So think of this a little bit like a variation of Uttanasana, where we're trying to turn the body a little over the front leg, or in this case the right leg, and then soften along the leg so the crown of the head moves towards the toes. Go to where you feel comfortable. If you're not comfortable, back off. Bring the body more upright. And wait until you feel the body relax before going further. Just the last couple of breaths here. Keep bringing the wandering mind back to the posture and your breathing. And after your next calm out breath, or an extra one if you'd like, slowly bring the body back up once more. Come back to the center, fingers either in front of or behind the body. Try to, again, just lift and maybe arch the spine a tiny bit. This is a little counter pose from the forward bending positions. And then take your hands either side of the left knee. And turn so that the sternum is pointing towards the left toes. Maybe, if you like, tilt the sit bones back. And then perhaps start to bring the right hand towards the left shin or ankle if that feels okay. Keep reaching out to your right heel. Maybe take the right hand around the heel if that's comfortable. Again, just keep a steady focus on the posture and the breath. Relax where the sensations are the strongest. And once you feel comfortable, then move further. Whenever your mind starts to drift off, remember it's not a cause for frustration. It's simply an opportunity to get familiar with the patterns of the mind, so that you can more easily recognize and choose to ignore irrelevant thoughts. Try to stay in the present to the best of your ability. Just the last couple of breaths here. Perhaps releasing just a little bit further. And after your next out breath, or an extra one if you'd like, gently bring the body back up. Again, hands either behind the back or in front of the back. Just sit upright for a couple of breaths. Did I mention we're going to be here for a little while? That's why I said a comfortable wide-legged position. After your next out breath, take your right hand to your left thigh, take your left arm up, and just twist a little bit to the left so your shoulders are in line with the right leg, or in the same plane. And then slowly start to lean to the right, as if you're bringing your right shoulder towards your right knee, and bring your left arm over your head, reaching out into the fingertips. Try to pull the left elbow back in line with the shoulders. And if you're really comfortable here, you can hold the foot with the hand, but it's really not important. Much better to keep the body turned to the side without holding the foot, rather than holding the foot but having to bring the shoulders down, or left shoulder down. Remember, we're looking for a side stretch here. Try not to hang the head excessively. So there should still be a sense of reaching out through the crown. And if you're really comfortable here, you can take the right arm forward, see if you can wriggle the right shoulder under a little further, and then maybe bring right hand to inner right heel. Keep turning and opening the body to the sky. Try to reach out to the left heel, making sure the legs still remain a little active. Just hold here for a few more breaths. Keep the face, the breath, the shoulders all relaxed. And after you exhale one more time, or maybe two, gently bring the body back up. And again, pause with the hands in front of the hips, or behind if you'd prefer. And when you feel ready, take your left hand over to the top of the right thigh. Reach your right arm up and try to already find some length in the right side body. Then turn a little to the right so the shoulders are in line with the left leg. And then start to slowly and gently bring the left shoulder down towards the left knee. Reach out through the fingers of the right hand, so we're not just letting the arm hang and be floppy. There should be a sense of lengthening through to the fingertips. At the same time, try and pull the right elbow back a little further. And if it was comfortable, you can perhaps again hold the foot, but really not important. There will be a hamstring stretch here, but try to prioritize the length in the right side body first. Sometimes it's better to lift up a little higher. You might be able to get more right side stretch without being limited by the left hamstring. And again, if it's really comfortable, just release the left hand, shuffle it forwards, bring the left shoulder under a little further, and then see if you can bring left hand to left heel as you turn the body to the right. Keep the right leg active. Keep the breath calm. Maintain your inner focus. Remember, you're just sitting around on the floor. You shouldn't need to breathe much. Just the last couple of breaths here. Try to soften and relax somewhere in the right side body. After your next calm out breath, gently bring the body back up. And again, rest with the hands either in front of the legs or behind the hips. Try to smile if you're not. And after your next out breath, finishing here with a little twist and shoulder stretch. So turn to your right once more. Bring the left hand to the right knee. And then take your right arm around behind your back and see if you can hold the inner left thigh. If that's not going to happen, just take your right hand to the floor behind your right hip. And for the first couple of breaths, even if you know you can go further, I want you to stay in an upright position and just try and twist with the head directly over the hips. And then if you feel comfortable, you can start to slide the left hand down towards the outer right heel. And if you're holding the foot, try to lean away from your left hand. So we're not thinking of this as a forward bend. It should almost feel like you're trying to sit back upright. And you're gently pulling against the left hand. That'll help to deepen the twist a little. Try to stay relaxed. If you're not, back off the intensity a little. Just a last breath or two here. And after your next out breath, release from your twist. Come back to the center. Let the shoulders relax. There's actually quite a strong stretch for the right shoulder if you're in the bind there. And after coming back to neutral and resting there for a few breaths, when you're ready, take your right hand outside the left knee. Take the left hand behind you. Or if you did first side, take the left arm to roll out, then in. Bind the arm around behind your back. Stay in an upright twist to begin with. And only if you're very comfortable, from there start to gently lean towards the left foot. And see if you can hold outer ankle or outer heel with the right hand. Then lean back away from the hand, like you're trying to sit back up. As you turn your head a little to the left, try to lift the left ear. Keep lengthening the head away from the hips. The spine long and straight. Just the last couple of breaths. And after breathing out one more time, unravel. Release and bring the hands to the mat, either in front of or behind the hips. Close your eyes for a moment. And now gently lean back a little. Pick up your inner knees. This is where you realise just how much the inner hips have been stretching that whole time. Bring your feet flat, bring your knees together and wrap your arms gently around the legs. Then squeeze your knees outwards for a breath or two against the arms, and then gently squeeze them inwards against each other. Once you've done that for a breath or two, then lean back and find your balance point. Close your eyes in Brahmandasana and try to find the point of weightlessness. Just one more breath here. And after you breathe out, turn along your mat. Come into a cross-legged position with your right leg, if you can, parallel to the front edge of your mat. And then take your left leg back and stretch it out, making sure that the left foot isn't going out wide to the side, but it's sort of in line with the hips. Now, you can take a cross-legged position with the right leg in front as a simpler alternative, but ideally here we're also stretching the front of the left hip. So our first few breaths, we're actually trying to stay in a bit of a back arch. You can have the left foot flat if you'd like. Left toes tucked is just a little bit stronger for the left hip. If you're comfortable, you can lift the body a little higher. Try to have a sense of pulling the hands back towards the hips rather than pushing them forward. So you're lengthening through the front of the body without jamming into the lower back. Take one more breath here. And then slowly start to bring the body forward. Now, we're not in any hurry here, as always. So you might just find that going forward by 15 or 20 degrees is enough. But if you're more comfortable, start to bring the body forward further, maybe resting on the elbows. Eventually lay the body onto the right shin and rest the head on the backs of the hands. If you're noticing that your left hip is lifted or the front of your left thigh isn't touching the mat, you can focus on rolling the left hip down a little bit more. If you're very comfortable here, you can rest your head on the mat. Just hang out there for a little bit longer. This is an intense stretch for the outer hip, outer glute, outer thigh of the right side. But I probably didn't need to tell you that. It is often associated with deep emotional release as well. So you might be feeling angry or frustrated or sad for no particular reason. The body does hold particularly emotional memory. By releasing the body, we help to facilitate the releasing of those old emotions, old thoughts, old ideas that are no longer serving us, no longer relevant. Just a last breath or two here. And when you're ready, slowly bring the body back into its more upright position. Again, just arch the spine for a breath or two. And then lean to your right, swing the left leg around. Pause cross-legged for a couple of breaths. And when you feel ready, take the right leg back behind you. And again, try to have the foot not splaying out to the side, so the right foot, knee and hip are all in line. As we hold this upright position to begin with, again here we're focusing on trying to roll the top of the right thigh down. So we're working with a little back arch position and lengthening into the front of the right hip. Of course, for some there will be a stretch in the outer left hip here as well. Try to relax a little bit further. Take one more breath in your arch. Remember to pull the hands towards you. Lift up through the sternum. And then gently start to bring the body forward. Again, don't be in a hurry. The two sides are probably quite different. Listen to your body, and again, in this practice, remain in your comfort zone. And start to gradually broaden how big that space is. How far you can go without causing stress to the body. If you're more comfortable, slowly start to bring the body even further forward. Maybe rest the head on the hands, or on stacked fists is another good option, either chin or forehead. If you're quite comfortable, bring the chest onto the left shin. So a little note here, if you're all the way forward and your left foot is back near your right hip, you're better off to lift up a little higher and take the shin further forward. That'll give you a bit more of that outer left hip stretch. So we work towards having the left shin parallel to the front of the mat here. And again, focus on where you're feeling there's resistance. Again, remember we're still trying to roll the top of the right thigh down, but now the stretch much more intense in the left side. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Just the last couple of breaths here. When you're ready, gently bring the body back up once more. Come back to that arched position. Take another breath there. And then when you're ready, lean to the left, swing the right leg around. And just rest in a cross-legged position for a few breaths. Now that we've opened the hips a little bit, taking Supta Virasana, or we might take a one-legged variation. So stretch the left leg out, lean to the right, bring your left foot next to the left hip. And we want here to be on the top of the foot with the heel in close to the side. And it might be enough just to stay upright there. If you have really sensitive knees, sit on a block so that your hips are up a bit higher. And as you start to feel more comfortable, Focusing on softening the top of the left thigh. Slowly start to lean back, maybe just onto the hands. If you're very comfortable, you can go back onto the elbows. And even if you know you can go further, I want you to stay on the elbows for a couple of breaths. Try to make sure the left knee isn't splaying out to the side. So again, we want to try and keep the knees about hip width apart. Try to soften a little further in the left knee, left thigh, left hip. And then if you feel really comfortable here, you can lie all the way back. Maybe take the arms over the head and hold opposite elbows. It's okay if your left knee lifts up a little bit as you go all the way back. But as the thigh starts to soften, gently press the left knee forwards. So you're still lengthening through left thigh in front of the left hip. Remember, you don't have to go all the way back. You can stay in an upright position, sitting on a block. So if that's the case, you'll just be gently stretching the muscles around the left knee. Just the last couple of breaths here. Again, whenever the mind wanders, bring it back to your breathing. Notice how the sensation of stretch, of resistance moves around as you hold the posture. And when you feel ready now, just bring your left hand under the left ankle or left shin, take your right elbow down and use your arms to lift back up to the elbows. Then as you bring the body a little higher, lean to the right and release the left leg out. Stay in that half reclined position for a few breaths. And then if you can, just try and pick up the left heel off the floor. You might like to give your left kneecap a little bit of a shake just to get everything settled again. And then when you're ready, lean to the right. And now to the left, bring your right leg in next to the right hip. And again, remember the two sides probably won't feel exactly the same. So you might find this side's a little easier, or you might find the last side was easier. Remember, your practice is always an opportunity to get to know your body. Once you feel comfortable, start to slowly lower back. Maybe just onto the hands, maybe just going to hands back behind the hips and leaning back a little is enough. If you are staying there, make sure you're not shrugging the shoulders. So we want to pull the shoulders back a little bit. If you feel more comfortable, lower back onto the elbows. And again, even if you know you can go further, stay here for a bit. Now for me today, this right side's feeling much tighter than the left. So I'm just going to stay here for a bit longer and see if I can allow the right hip and thigh to soften. But if they don't, this will be enough. Remember, we're not worried about what we did the last time we practiced or even the last side we practiced. To have the humility to not force the body, to not be attached to results. You might already be lying all the way back. You might not go back all the way at all today. It's also completely fine. If you are lying back, holding opposite elbows, try to have the opposite arm on top on your second side. Just a few more breaths. Again, be mindful of the right knee not splaying out to the side. Keep lengthening forward through the right thigh, hip and knee. Take another breath or two. And when you feel ready, bring the right hand under the right ankle or shin. Bring the left hand under the thigh, press into the elbows and lift up onto the elbows for a breath or two. Then when you feel ready, lift up a little higher. Again, not forcing, not hurrying. Take this opportunity to be with yourself and not rush, as is our normal tendency in modern life. When you're ready, swing the right leg around. Again, stay in your half reclined position. Maybe pick up the right foot, maybe give the right knee a little bit of a jiggle. Then when you're ready, take the hands next to the hips, and if you're comfortable, just lift the hips up. So we're not taking Brahmacharya-asana, just a modified Dandasana. If you need to, you can just stay with the hips down and the hands next to the hips. Otherwise, just a little lift to re-engage the stomach muscles and traction the lower spine after that arch. From there, when you're ready, just release the weight from the hands and come to lying down on your back. So lying down on your back, hug the knees into the body. So you can hug the knees in as tightly or as loosely as you'd like. I'm just going to shuffle down a little bit further so my legs don't vanish. I just want you to spend a few more breaths here, just pedaling the knees or circling the knees or doing something that feels nice for your lower back. We're going to take a half shoulder stand into Halasana. So if you have a ponytail and it's going to get in the way, just release your hair now. Then push into your elbows, keeping the knees bent to begin with. Lift the hips, bring the hands to the back of the hips. And when you feel comfortable, just start to straighten the legs, but not lifting up into a full shoulder stand. Just keep the body in a bit of a C shape or a V shape. See how relaxed you can make the legs without them collapsing back down. Try to lengthen out through the back of your neck here. So we're trying to release tension from the neck, shoulders and upper back. You should feel like the weight is on the elbows and upper back. But the neck here should feel like it's just getting a gentle stretch but not taking the weight of the body. You should actually be able to pick the head up. I don't know if you can see that, but you should be able to pick the head up off the floor here. So I want you to hold here just for a few more breaths. Letting gravity gently bring lymphatic fluid and blood back from the feet to the torso. And then when you feel ready, slowly start to bring the legs down. We're not in a hurry here. We haven't taken any
strict hamstring stretches apart from at the start of our standing practice. So if you're tightening the lower back or the backs of the legs, take some time. Now it doesn't actually matter if you bend your knees here as we move into Halasana. We're actually looking for a point where we're more or less balanced on the upper back. And eventually the legs may be able to be straight and the toes may reach the floor, but that really doesn't matter. If you have to keep the knees bent and the feet off the floor, but you're balanced on your upper back, that's fine. As you start to get a little more comfortable, start to lift the hips a little bit higher, and you'll start to slowly deepen the stretch for the back of the neck. Now in traditional Halasana, the hands come behind the back and we interlace the hands. You can take that for a few breaths if you like. But then I want you to see if you can release your hands next to the feet. And just let the backs of the shoulders spread out into the mat or into the floor. See if you can move the base of the skull away from the shoulder blades. So you're lengthening the back of the neck a little more. Try to relax the back of the hips, the back of the legs, the back of the neck. So this stretch all for the back of the body. Maybe lift the hips a little higher, if that's comfortable for you. So in a moment we're going to roll down. If you need to, you can take the hands back behind the body with the palms pressing down, but not behind the back, just a little wider than the hips. But ideally, I want you to take hold of either the calves or the heels. And we're going to slowly roll the spine down, using hands and stomach muscles for control. And I do mean slowly roll down. So try to feel each vertebra as you roll back down the spine. It's a great way to release tension from the upper back. Take as much time as you need to roll down vertebra by vertebra, to release the whole of the back of the body, all the little muscles around the spine as you gently bring the body back down. And once your hips reach the floor, just bring your feet hip width apart and flat and let the knees gently drop together. Just rest there, spine flat, arms reaching out past your head. Just taking a couple of relaxed breaths. And from there, when you feel ready, stretch your left leg out along the floor once more. Gently bring the right knee into the chest. And just hug the right knee into the body. Feel the back of the left leg, the spine, back of the torso, and back of the head resting on the mat. Just gently stretching around the back of the right hip here. When you're ready, after another couple of breaths, stretch the right leg out and then bring the left leg into the body. And repeat the same on the second side. So we're just gently pulling the left leg into the body. The right leg should stay completely flat to the floor. And if that means your knee has to be further forward, that's fine. But try to keep your right leg flat and then just bring the left knee in to where it comfortably reaches. It might feel nice to give a little rock side to side, but maybe just hugging gently in is enough. Keep the face soft. By now your breath should be very, very calm. After exhaling one more time, maybe two if you need, just stretch your left leg out along the floor. Take your feet about as wide as your mat, a little wider than the hips. Reach your arms out past your head and lengthen all the way through to the fingertips. Now at this point, if you'd like to take legs up the wall to finish, you can. Otherwise, after reaching out into the fingers, take your arms down by your sides with the palms facing up. And we want the arms a good 30 degrees away from the body so that the fronts of the shoulders can relax. Take a couple of deep breaths, just settling the body. You might be able to reach down to the fingers a little more. You might be able to let the toes drop out a little bit more. You might be able to relax your face, the eyes, the mouth, the jaw, even the tongue. Once you feel ready, I want you to start to work with Ujjayi Pranayama, the balance of in and out breath, at your own pace. So smooth in and out breaths. Try to keep your focus in the heart space. Gently filling and emptying the lungs in a rhythm that's comfortable for you, ideally maintaining a balance of inhalation and exhalation. See if you can bring your attention to rest solely on the breath, the mind merging with that rhythm. Every time you notice your attention drifting off, just acknowledge what it was that distracted you. And then without frustration, just simply come back once more to your breath, to its quiet rhythm, to that subtle movement within the body. Your attention just remaining within the body, on the breath. And you might like now to add a little pause of 1 or 2 seconds at the top and bottom of the breath. It shouldn't feel like a retention, like you're holding the breath, but just that you're giving the breath a moment of pause, of stillness as it changes direction. You're not hurrying each breath, but just giving them a little space. In that pause, you can let the mind also dissolve into stillness.
I'd like you to take just 3 more Ujjayi breaths at your pace. A gentle balance of inhalation and exhalation, prana and apana, energy and softness. The balance of opposites, ha and ta. Once you've finished the 3rd conscious exhalation, just let your breath find its own rhythm. Allow it to drop down to the belly. But keep your focus in the heart space. Try to stay focused on your breathing, but now simply as an observer, a passive witness. Not involved, not affected, simply aware. Come back to the sense of effortlessness, of simply being, without needing to do anything or change anything. Content with what is. And just rest in that effortless, still space of awareness for the last few minutes of your practice. Sarva Mangala Mangalye Shive Sarvata Shadike Sharanye Triambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Slowly start to lengthen your breath again, keeping the body still, mind quiet, but just reconnecting with that inner movement. And then begin once more to come back to outward movement, beginning by slowly wiggling the fingers and the toes, the wrists and the ankles. When you feel ready, reach your arms over your head and stretch out from the toe tips to the fingertips, reawakening the whole body. When you're ready, roll to your right side. Rest there for a few breaths. And when you feel ready, just gently come back to a seated position. Once you're upright again, close your eyes. Acknowledge how you are after the practice in body, mind and heart. And see if you can stay connected to the inner stillness that you had in Shavasana. Remember that it's always there, but usually covered over by the busyness of the mind. And bringing your palms together in Anjali Mudra, we'll close our practice with one long Om, gently breathing in. As you breathe in, reach up through the fingers. And as you exhale, bring the hands to the crown center, the brow center, the throat center, and the heart. And with awareness in the heart space, release your spine forward. And then gently sit back up. Namaste. So thank you very much for sharing this practice with me and allowing me to share it with you. As I mentioned, any questions, just pop them in the comments. And if you haven't done so already, hit that little subscribe button somewhere over there so I can keep sharing these practices with you. Thank you very, very much. I'll see you next time.